Wednesday, November 23, 2025. Today on The Young and the Restless, Nikki gives Claire the green light. Lily squares off with Phyllis and Kane, and then warns Holden to get out of town. At Crimson Lights, Holden flashes to sex with Claire and smiles. Esther breaks the spell by asking if he'd like a mocha. He declines, but asks about houses or apartments, giving her his number if she hears of one. Esther guesses Holden is staying in town because of a woman. Somehow, they get onto her history with Catherine Chancellor. Before talk turns back to his love interest, Holden charms her and then texts Claire. Nikki gives Claire the green light at the ranch. Nikki asks Claire about her situation with Kyle, or Holden. Claire reflects that so much has changed in the past month. She's realized she can handle things on her own. She's gotten some clarity, and knows she's not ready for a serious relationship. Nikki fishes to find out more about Holden. Claire reads Holden's text and smiles, admitting to Nikki that they're meeting for drinks later. They go on about him being charming and handsome. Claire says he's a good time, and that's what she's looking for right now. Every time she's with him, she learns something about herself. Nikki thinks it's the lure of the bad boy, and they veer into her history with Victor. Claire one day hopes to have a love like that. She knows her grandmother had other loves. They were learning experiences. Nikki tells Claire to let fate decide. If she's preferring Holden over Kyle right now, she shouldn't second guess it. Lily squares off with everyone in the foyer of the club. Lily's awkward encounter with Kane and Phyllis progresses with Ashby asking his ex why she's there so late. Lily explains that she came back for her earbuds and assures Phyllis she has no problem with them having dessert upstairs before coming down for a souffle. Despite her insistence that she's fine with all of this, Lily gets into it with Phyllis and Kane, asking when they got so familiar. Phyllis says they've been working together since Nice. Kane informs him ex-wife he won't apologize. Phyllis thinks Lily is jealous. She declares she's just incredibly disappointed. Kane asks to speak to Lily alone for a moment and tells her he doesn't need her lecturing him every time he sees her. What's happening is not what she thinks. I just need a little bit of time. Lily. Everything will be clear soon. He asks her for breakfast in the morning, but she declines. He leaves with Phyllis. At the bar, Lily gets on the phone and tries to cajole her brother into meeting her for a drink, but he pleads parental obligations. Suddenly, Holden walks in and tells her she shouldn't drink alone. Lily snaps at him, and then decides to ask if he's still working for Kane. Holden tries to change the subject, so Lily guesses he is still working for Kane. She insults him over it, and they bicker about who is responsible for Damien's death. Holden doesn't hold Kane accountable. Lily sneers, not as long as he's signing your paycheck. Landing another zinger. Lily tells him that Arabesque is being dismantled, and Ashby will have to start selling off his assets soon. Holden complains about Lily trying to run him out of town, and asks about the rumors about Arabesque. Lily spots Audra coming in and says someone found out about Kane's plan. She leaves him sitting there puzzled as Audra strolls up, delighted that Holden seems to have gotten bad news. Calling out Kane on the patio at Crimson Lights, Phyllis asks if Kane's in a bad mood because Lily knows something happened between them. Ashby shrugs that his feelings for her aren't going to disappear because of one dalliance that was long overdue. He has no regrets. Phyllis muses that he definitely put on a good show. Kane wants to know what she wants to hear. Tell me everything, he coaxes. She leans in. You want to hear everything? Like, what's the password to my laptop? Phyllis tells him the password and then asks if he wants the password to his phone or to get into his bank account. She denies stealing his program and complains that he doesn't trust her. Kane feels she can't be surprised. Phyllis warns she changed the password and muses about all the distrust in their relationship. Kane shrugs that neither one of them will get bored. Have you ever really trusted anyone in your life? Phyllis trusts her kids, but no one else. Kane's the same way, but they don't trust him. Getting into a professional or personal relationship with her won't help. Phyllis accuses him of trying to get her into bed to get into her laptop. Or is there something other than business between them? The final scenes at the ranch. Claire tells Nikki that she feels bad because Kyle and Harrison are pushing for a speedy reunion. Nikki reminds her she can always see Harrison. It's not her job to please everyone. Take your time, she counsels. She can have some no-strings fun as she works her way up the corporate ladder. Claire complains that both Holden and Kyle come with baggage, namely Audra Charles. She's out for blood. They nearly tore each other's hair out. At the club, Audra pries about why Holden's in a funk and needles him about being without Claire. They bicker about whether or not she blab. Novak warns his old pal to quit provoking her or she might bring up her crime to the wrong people. Audra balks. Don't you mean our crime? Holden didn't share the whole story. Audra certainly hopes he didn't share the second, and worst, part of the story. Novak grits that he was doing damage control and urges Charles to get out of there before Claire arrives. Audra decides Claire should maybe know everything. Holden argues that wouldn't be good for either of them. They have too much to lose if the story comes out. By the time Claire walks in, Holden's alone and brooding. She flashes back to when they met and he introduced her to Vespers. Her smile turns to a frown as Audra reappears, pulling out her phone and grumbling about the bitch not staying out of her life. She calls Billy and tells him she has information on her that he might find interesting. She wants to meet with him and Sally first thing tomorrow. At Crimson Lights, Kane denies sleeping with Phyllis just to get her hard drive. He insists he wanted her just as badly as she wanted him. You can verify that. He deadpans. Genoa City has seen its fair share of betrayals, whispered confessions, catastrophic choices, and painful reunions, but this week, emotions erupt in two explosive storylines that threaten to reshape the fabric of several lives. On one end, Phyllis Summers, raw and revving with fury, barrels straight into Kane Ashby, determined to confront a shocking betrayal she never should have seen coming. On the other end, Claire Grace, haunted by a past entangled with manipulation and deeply rooted vulnerability, decides she's done being anyone's pawn, especially Audra Charles. What follows is a creative, dramatic, and emotionally layered deep dive into two escalating plots, weaving introspection with heightened tension, exploring the motivations and regrets that push each character toward a point of no return. Phyllis Summers vs. Kane Ashby, the explosive collision. 1. The quiet before the fury. For a moment, just a breath, Phyllis Summers stands still. It's an unnatural state for her, like the silence before a glass shatters, or the stillness before lightning cracks open the sky. She stands outside the Grand Phoenix, hands clenched at her sides, knowing exactly what she has to do, yet bracing herself for the emotional blow she's about to deliver, and the one she's about to receive. She had seen things she wasn't meant to see. A slip, a moment of vulnerability, a careless whisper. But Phyllis had pieced it together in seconds, her mind a relentless machine that rarely, if ever, malfunctions. Kane Ashby betrayed her. And the sting of it strikes deeper because for once, she had allowed herself to believe he wasn't like the other men who had used her, lied to her, manipulated her, or simply tired of her. She thought Kane might be different. She was wrong. The air is crisp, but Phyllis' fury keeps her warm, and she's ready. Point 2. Kane Ashby, the man who never learned inside the hotel suite. Kane Ashby moves with the nervous energy of someone who knows what's coming even before the knock lands. He always senses when he's about to be confronted, perhaps because his past is littered with enough bad decisions to make guilt his permanent shadow. He tries to tell himself, Phyllis won't come storming in, that maybe she'll bury what she'll discovered, pretend, delay, rationalize. But this is Phyllis. There is no delay. There is no rationalizing, and certainly, there is no pretending. He runs a hand through his hair, trying to rehearse 1,000 excuses that sound hollow even in his own mind. The knock hits once, twice, then the kind of pounding that could only belong to one woman. He opens the door, slowly. Phyllis doesn't wait to be invited in. Point 3. Phyllis takes the floor. Tell me it's not true. Her voice is calm to calm, which is precisely how Kane knows he's in trouble. Her eyes are sharp enough to carve him clean in half. Phyllis, don't. She holds up a hand. Kane, I want the truth. Not the sugar-coated version. Not the it was a mistake version. Not the you misunderstood version. Just the truth. Kane swallows hard, realizing how impossible that request feels. Because the truth is ugly. The truth is that he had been weak. That in a moment of confusion and loneliness and longing, he had fallen into the arms of someone he shouldn't have touched. Someone he knew would destroy everything if Phyllis ever found out. And she found out, of course she did. Point 4. Kane's excuse. The thing Phyllis can't stand. I didn't mean to hurt you, he begins, already regretting the words. Phyllis laughs, a short, sharp sound that cuts right through him. You didn't mean to, Kane. That excuse should be stamped on a Genoa City welcome sign. Welcome to GC, where nobody means to hurt anyone. Yet somehow, everyone gets burned. Her voice is rising. But she's still holding herself together, her posture rigid, her expression scraped raw. You told me I could trust you, she says quietly. You looked me in the eye and promised me that what we were building meant something to you. It does. No. She snaps. You do not get to say that now. Not after what you did. 5. The name Kane doesn't want to say. Kane closes his eyes. He can lie. He can dodge. But Phyllis already knows the truth. and lying would only twist the knife deeper. Phyllis. It was with Lily. The name hangs between them like a toxic cloud. Lily Winters, the woman Kane never truly let go of. The woman whose memory and love hovered above him like a ghost, long after their marriage dissolved. Phyllis stares at him, her expression a mix of disgust, heartbreak, and bitter realization. You told me you were done with Lily, she whispers. You said you'd moved on. I thought I had, Kane says miserably. No, you hoped you had, there's a difference. And guess what, Kane? I'm not a consolation prize because you can't figure out who you are without Lily Winters. 6. Phyllis' fury reaches its peak. Phyllis steps closer, eyes blazing. You know what hurts most? I actually believed in you. I believed you were trying to be better. But you haven't changed. You run right back to your past every time your present gets messy. Kane feels the weight of every word. Phyllis continues, voice trembling now. I opened my life to you, Kane. I gave you access to my world, my heart, the part of me I don't give freely. I thought we were building something real. Kane whispers, we were. No, Phyllis says, we were never real to you. I was a distraction, a placeholder, a warm body until you could find an excuse to go back to her. 7. The moment Phyllis walks away, Phyllis turns toward the door. Kane steps forward instinctively. Phyllis, please, she spins around. Don't follow me, don't call me, don't text me, don't try to explain. We're done, Kane, completely irrevocably. And this time, I won't let you or your damaged nostalgia drag me back in. She walks out, slamming the door behind her. Kane sinks to the floor, realizing he's just lost more than he ever meant to. And Phyllis, she's not mourning, she's planning, and Kane has no idea what storm he's unleashed. Claire Grace's breaking point, the call that changes everything. 8. Claire Grace, a woman at war with herself while Phyllis burns through her grief like a wildfire. Claire Grace sits alone in Chancellor Park, curled onto a bench that feels too cold against her spine. She wraps her arms around herself, fighting off a tremor that isn't from the weather. She has worked hard, tirelessly to build a life in Genoa, city that isn't marred by her nightmare upbringing. She has fought tooth and nail to separate herself from Jordan's influence, to carve out an identity beyond being manipulated, brainwashed, and used as a weapon. But despite all her efforts, Audra Charles has found a way to sink her claws deep. And Claire has reached her limit. She's done being pushed. She's done being intimidated. She's done being the girl who keeps running. Tonight, something inside her shifts. Tonight, she decides that if Audra won't back down, then she'll make her back down. 9. Audra Charles, the queen of intimidation. Audra is everything Claire isn't. Polished, confident, sharp, and unbothered. A strategist, a survivor, a woman who never asks permission and never apologizes. And since Claire started dating Kyle Abbott, Audra has hovered in the background like a venomous shadow, mocking, manipulating, undermining. You're not cut out for this world. Audra had taunted her recently. Kyle will realize it soon enough. The words had hit Claire harder than she'd admit. But tonight, Claire faces a decision. Let Audra torment her forever, or fight back. 10. Claire makes the call. Her hand trembles as she pulls out her phone. She scrolls through her contacts past Summer, past Kyle, past Victoria, until she reaches the number she hoped she'd never use. A number tied to a past she wanted to bury. But desperate times call for desperate measures. She presses call. A voice answers after one ring. Well, the voice purrs. Didn't expect to hear from you again? Claire swallows. I need help. Help doing what? Claire hesitates, then forces the words out. I need you to help me get rid of Audra Charles. There is a pause. Then, I'm listening. 11. The dangerous choice. Claire isn't naive. She knows what making that call means. She knows she's inviting chaos back into her life, the same chaos she swore she would never allow again. But Audra has pushed her to a breaking point. Claire needs protection. She needs leverage. She needs power she doesn't have on her own. And the person on the other end of the line, they specialize in power. Even if it comes with strings. 12. Claire's justification, the line she crosses. She hangs up the phone and exhales shakily. The decision is made. The gears are turning. The consequences, she deal with those later. For now, she only sees Kyle's smile, Kyle's faith in her, and Audra's relentless attempts to poison everything. I'm not losing him. Claire whispers to herself. Not to her, but a small part of her, the part that has fought so hard to heal, trembles at what she's set in motion. because once you choose a dark path, it rarely lets you go easily. 13. Audra's blissful ignorance. Audra Charles moves through the Grand Phoenix lobby with her usual razor-sharp confidence. Unaware of the storm gathering around her, she smirks at the staff, offers her calculated charm, and pretends the world spins on her command. She has no idea someone just declared war on her. That soon, her empire of intimidation will begin to crumble. That someone she underestimated has weaponized her own past. 14. Claire's transformation begins later that night. Claire sits on her bed, knees drawn to her chest, replaying her decision over and over. She doesn't want to become like Jordan, she doesn't want to slip back into the darkness, but she also refuses to be powerless ever again. She reminds herself, I'm doing this to protect myself, to protect my future, to protect Kyle. But is she? Or is she doing it to avenge her wounded pride? That's a question only time and consequences can answer.